Hi, I'm Peter Tork. Don't change your digital channel selector. Profiles is coming right up. I might even be on it.
Welcome to Profiles. I'm Lisa Ann Williamson. This week's guest is Peter Tork, member of the legendary pop group The Monkees. In the late 60s, the Monkees sold an incredible 16 million albums and 7.5 million singles in a mere 2.5 years. At the height of their popularity, recordings of the Monkees outsold those of the Beatles and the Rolling Stones combined. After a short break, we'll join our host, Mickey Burns, as he welcomes the talented Peter Tork to Profiles. Welcome back to Profiles. During the late 60s, the Monkees amassed a dozen top 40 hits, of which 3 songs would make it all the way to #1. And who could forget the popular Monkees TV show, which produced 58 episodes between 1966 and 1967. Today, those shows can be seen daily in syndication throughout the world. So let's join our host, Mickey Burns, on location at the Center of the Performing Arts at the College of Staten Island in New York City as he welcomes singer and actor Peter Tork to Profiles.
Cheer up, sleepy Jean. What can it mean to a daydream believer and a homecoming queen?
Peter Tork, welcome to welcome to our show, Profiles.
Thank you. It's good to be here. At least I think it is. We'll find out by the end of the night.
And welcome to New York City.
Oh, it's a wonderful place.
No
to
stranger
be.
here.
No stranger. I used to live here a couple of times.
For our viewers, they all know you as one of the members of the world-famous pop group, The Monkees.
Yes, yes.
Of which you had quite an exciting tenure along with Davy Jones, Dolenz and Michael Nesmith. You're currently touring the country with your latest band, Shoe Suede Blues.
God, you actually must have practiced.
I did. I like the name. Where did the name come from, Shoe Suede Blues?
Well, it's pretty obvious.
It's a takeoff of
yeah,
blues
it's a twist, right? It's a twist on that. And it was a blues band, and I've always liked that era of music and have gone for it. Little Richard, Fats Domino, it was, to me it was that one of the magic times in the world when pop music and the blues and rock and roll and soul music all were the same music.
Sure, and you've certainly seen an evolution in music since you've started. I know you started out prior to the Monkees. You were part of the Greenwich Village scene.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff was going on there. I have to say that I guess my roots came because my parents, among the classical music records that they played, also played some Lead Belly and some folk singers, and the Weavers were big in our household when I was growing up, starring Pete Seeger. You ask any of the people who were folk singers in those days, Kingston Trio, Peter, Paul, and Mary. Bob Dylan will have to tell you, really, Pete Seeger was a great influence on his life.
So you enjoyed that experience in Greenwich Village in those days?
It was heaven.
It was a great place to be.
It was bliss. I'm telling you, it was like I was being allowed, I was being free. It was liberating. Just
and of course you weren't from New York. I read that you were from Washington, D.C.
Well, I was born there, but my parents trekked a lot. They still live, my parents, bless their hearts, still live in Connecticut, which is where they were living when I cut loose.
Now, you moved around quite a bit as a child.
That's what I'm saying.
And was that a good thing for you?
No.
It was not a good thing?
No, I don't think so. Although, it's hard, well, it's hard to know. I've done a fair amount of self-examination, for better or for worse. It might just be that if I'd stayed in one place, I'd be just as neurotic as I am today. It has, maybe my parents drove me to it. Maybe if I'd stayed in one place, I'd have been a trombone teacher or something at this point, someplace.
And in 1965, which is very few people get tired of New York, but you did.
No, I was thrown out of New York.
You were thrown out of New York.
Well, this is interesting. I've only recently begun to tell this story. In early '65, I was walking down the street someplace, I think it was the Lower East Side of Manhattan, and I was struck full of the information that I was to leave New York. it was one of those mystical things. I'm not promoting it. I'm just telling you that my experience was that there was the irrefutable information that it was time to go.
And you did.
And I did.
You headed out west.
I headed west to Southern California. And here's the thing. I landed in Southern California at the end of June, and I signed the contract for the Monkees in October, 6 weeks before or 2 months before I got involved with the Monkees. So the Voice had something in mind.
And
for
also
me.
a lot of luck.
I mean, you know, at one level, of course.
Right.
You have to, well, it was mighty bloody lucky. I mean, you know, I mean, I remember when the Monkees came out, there was a lot of noise about any 4 talentless slobs could have done as well. And you know what I think? I think that Bert Schneider and Bob Rafelson were the producers who I think were the focal point of the entire operation. They wanted to kick, that's what they wanted to do. And I think that if they had been a couple of cigar chomping guys in the day, the kids will love this, you know, you would have gotten the Partridge Family, which, you know, for all of its virtues, didn't have the impact that the Monkees did.
Sure. There was a rumor during the Monkees' tenure, when they were at the height of their success, that they couldn't play instruments and that they couldn't sing.
Well, there were two rumors. One was we couldn't, and the other one was that we didn't.
Right.
The one that we couldn't is not true. The one that we didn't was.
Yeah.
We were 4 actors hired to do a TV show. And in fact, as I look back, we could not have made records of the quality and at the rate they needed. They needed, it was, you know, the whole operation had to be in high gear right away. And they had professional music makers, professional record makers they knew they could count on. In fact, I believe that we ramped up eventually to the point where we could have been making our own records on an ongoing basis, as well as being on the TV show. Circumstances conspired against that happening in full, but there were a few moments that indicated to me that it could have happened. The Monkees' 3rd album was Headquarters, and we made that album ourselves. And while they demurred to put a single out from that record, I think Shades of Grey was a hit, and the song Mickey wrote called Randy Scousket, which is dirty in England, and they changed the title in England, was a hit in England. And Daydream Believer we put out after that point.
Which is a great tune.
I think that's a great record, and I think that you know, that was a mixed, what we call the mixed bag. I'm actually playing piano on that cut.
Right.
Mike Nesmith actually was playing guitar. Mickey didn't want to play drums, and Davy didn't want to bang a tambourine take 1 and through take 60. But we could have gone, and we had what it took to make records.
Right. And I think what did happen was that you had other musicians come in and help you do these.
Well, these were the later turns. At the beginning, the musicians, we weren't, the guys who were the local producers, the guys who were actually in the booth, were Tommy Boyce and Bobby Hart. And they had no inkling of who we were. They thought they were the guys in charge of the world, and we were just some hired hands that were just stand there and look pretty. And so I came in with my guitar to the first recording session. They looked at me like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "My guitar, we're done. We've got the track. We're allowing you here as a courtesy. Just put that thing away. God, it's ugly." It was very hard and very discouraging. But now looking back, as I said, I see why and how. And it makes all kinds of sense. If I were doing a parallel kind of an operation, I'd be doing it exactly the same way.